Here.
I think we're talking about very limited strikes that will not attempt to tip the balance of the war, but simply to send a message to Assad and the world that given the Rome Statute, the Geneva Accords, and the international ban on chemical weapons, that they're simply not acceptable to be used.
Ken O'Keefe, do you agree with that? I mean, some are saying, even U.S. lawmakers, that what Lawrence Korb there said then amounts to somewhat of a symbolic type strike, if anything.
Well, I don't agree at all. First off, how is it possible that anybody with any kind of sanity would consider the United States or Britain or the West in general to be in any kind of position to be punishing anyone for any illegalities? If we want to take a look at Iraq, there is at least 1 million, probably even close to 2 million dead. We invaded that country, destroyed it, created millions of orphans, millions of refugees, and never even so much as apologized for that. Let's go back to Vietnam, where we dropped 20 million bombs, more than all of World War II combined. We have destroyed so many countries. We have tortured and killed and maimed and raped around this planet. Who in the hell in their right mind would consider the United States or the West in general to be in any position to punish anybody? Never mind the obvious facts that this is a false flag attack and a long list of false flag attacks, which let's get into that, please. First off, all of these players, these politicians, are nothing more than puppets. They don't serve the people. There is no real democracy. They really serve the rich and powerful who run the world, and that would be the bankers who control the money supply. The bankers, of course, make huge amounts of money. Whether they make bad investments or not, wars are great for them, and ultimately they control the politicians, and that is why we see these policies. Obama and Cameron are nothing more than puppets who read the script, and the script is we need another war. And the reason why we need another war, according to these psychopaths who are running the world, is because more and more people, despite the clueless masses who continue to be entranced by things so ridiculous as X Factor and American Idol, there is larger numbers of people around the world who are realizing the truth and beginning to recapture the capacity to think for themselves. And they can see that these people who are being put in positions of public trust are defying that trust and representing an agenda which they could never speak about openly, because they're nothing more than prostitutes and nothing more than minions for the powers that be.
For people who don't know Ken, again, he's an ex-Marine who's essentially turned into, he doesn't necessarily label himself, but he's really turned into a freedom activist. And so Ken, a true pleasure to have you on. And the first question I have to ask you, though, is how did you become an anarchist?
Well, you know, I have always believed in deciding for myself, governing myself, and I don't appreciate anybody. When I was a little kid, you know, the idea of a bully trying to intimidate you and get you to do something you didn't want to do, or basically get you to submit, that never sat well with me. So I guess from a very, very young age, I chose never to bow to anybody. You know, obviously this word anarchist has been really abused, like everything in this world that we're living in today. Orwell's reality of the abuse of language couldn't be more profound. So obviously many people misunderstand the meaning of the word, but in the true sense of the word,